Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight? Happy Wednesday. My name's Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour, and we work on projects from beginning to end, the whole process, so you can be involved the whole entire way and ask questions along the way as well. So we're working on the round four corners block. It is block 10 from the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt along. So there's more info if you go to thesplendidsampler.com if you want to join us. This is block 10. There are 100 blocks total. The first 20 are free, and then the book comes out. So the rest of the 80 we'll be doing from the book when the book comes out in, I think, November-ish. So, geez, which is going to come up sooner than later already, isn't it? So we're pretty well into it. I got one circle kind of figured out. We're going to do the other 3 circles tonight, and I might adjust this one a little bit. I'm just not happy with this method so far. I do have some starch out today. Maybe we'll try some starching. We've been using the freezer paper method, so we got our freezer paper together, all ready to go, and I just, you can just press with the iron and it's fine, but I don't know. I just think it didn't all stay down. The edges didn't stay down like I wanted to, and I had to end up pinning it a ton, and it's bunching up and stuff already. That's not working for me. I don't like it. So we're going to use the starch. I'm going to press all 3 of the next ones. I'm going to just starch the edge and press it again with the starched edge. And I think maybe that will do the trick for us. And I might go back and just add a little starch to the edge of this one as well. So that is the plan. Ooh yeah, putting something over the wool mat. That's a good plan. Let's get that all ready. I got my kitchen towels back here. So there we go. We'll make sure to put something over the mat or your ironing board. I ruined my ironing board during the Splendid Sampler 1 by using a lot of starch. It can burn whatever you're working on. So yeah, we'll put a little towel down before doing that. So all right, let's get going today. Let's see how far we can get on this. I think we can actually start hand stitching, and that means we need to get little Zeb out again. So I'll have him on hand here. He's got our needles in there. So, all right, let's get going. I'm gonna flip around. Yes, Gina, so Sarah Filkey, she does that, oops, geez, sorry you guys, I gotta get situated here. She does that tinfoil method, right? Okay. Hopefully I didn't make you too dizzy just then. She does the tinfoil method where she has the template and then puts the fabric on it and then wraps the whole thing in tinfoil, and that kind of makes the nice hard edge. I have not tried that before, but I get the idea of it a little bit. I mean, we're kind of, yeah, I don't know. There's so many ways to do this. The way that I've been liking it the most so far is where we take another either piece of fabric or that fusible interface and do, right sides together. So all the way around, you put a slit in the back of the backing fabric or that stabilizer, the adhesive, and then you turn it right side out, kind of like a stuffed animal that you're turning right side out. And then you have a perfectly perfect round edge that you can just stitch down. I kind of like that the best so far. We've done that for a few of our other Splendid Sampler blocks. We have not done that. I'm not doing that for this one, just so I can try another way of doing it. So I don't know. I think next time we have circles to do, I think I'm gonna go back to my little sewing all the way around method. I kind of like that. So I'm folding this in half both ways. The second fold, I'm lining up the folds to get that fold. This is what we're gonna use, that grid, to match up with our circles here. So I'm gonna match that straight line here with that other seam here. So let's actually, We did this one all by itself yesterday. Now I'm gonna do it how I normally do something, which is do all the steps for each thing all at once. So let's fold this circle and get it ready for this piece. I got one more hiding around here somewhere. Line up that fold. This is just for a guide. Oh, here it is. Almost lost him. Ooh, look how pale and pretty that one is. Okay. Got fuzzles from the ironing the wool mat all over this freezer paper. So I doubled up the freezer paper just to make it a little thicker, which will, I think, make it a little easier to get a nice sharp edge to our circle. So okay, we got our 3. So let's head over to the pressing mat. Oh look, so this is I got my little station for starch set up here. So we'll get to that point. All right, so starting out, let's line up. Oh, let me get it so you guys can see. There we go. Lining up those seams with the little fold lines, and this one on top too. What we're really trying to do here is center our circle on this background. So matching the seams with those folds is what's going to do that for us. Love your starch, Lisa. Yeah, you know, I used starch a ton for the first Splendid Sampler quilt along. This is the second Splendid Sampler. And I don't know, I've been reticent of using it for this. I think just because I got this nice new mat now and I don't want it to get all mucked up with starch. So I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm not using starch so much this time other than that. I don't know. Just over it right now, I suppose. Okay, let's get our next one. So match that line up. So freezer paper has a paper kind of side and then a waxy side. The waxy side is the like kind of glue side. So that's what I'm putting on the fabric, that side. All right, line all that up. Looking good. All right. And it doesn't really take much. Hold it on a little extra long just to make sure it's stuck. You can just touch the edge, see if it's attached. It's pretty easy. It attaches pretty quickly. Okay, last one. All right, he needs a little pressing, I think, too. Yeah, a lot of times starch, yeah, is definitely our friend on some of this, some of these really little pieces that we'll be getting going. What's the difference between best press and flatter? So I have both here. Best press, I would just say, is a bit more starchy. Like it has more, I'm sure there's a term for this with starch, but it has more like sizing, you know, like it just makes it stiffer compared to the flatter. The flatter is barely anything at all. It smells really great, but it's not going to give you that really where it makes your fabric feel like stiff. It doesn't do that as much as best press. So I'm going to actually use the best press because I know that's going to make it a little stiffer. And I mean, you can use, you know, just what is that starch? Just that blue starch you can get. That watered down a little bit would work too. I always use that for paper mache. So, all right, I'm just going around here. You know what? I think let's head over here again. I'm gonna start out by, sorry, I'm just trying to tighten this a little bit. I'm gonna start out like how I did yesterday by temporarily gluing this down because I think that allows me to get my really nice edge to start out. Then I will add some starch and then press. So let's see how that does for us this time around. Yes, these mats are kind of absurdly cost.
are pricey, absurdly pricey. I mean, probably not absurdly. I mean, they're worth it. I love it. But you'd think, oh, it's just like this little gray mat, right? But they're like $60 to $80, I think. I got this from Mass Drop, and they have sales on things like this every once in a while. So I think I got it a little cheaper. But yeah, you'd think it'd be like, you know, 20 bucks or something. But no, they're pricey. Best Press is, I wouldn't call it a heavy starch, but it is definitely a heavier starch than Flatter. They're probably both considered light starches. But yeah, you'll notice that starch exists with the Best Press, whereas I don't so much with the Flatter. Although the Flatter is fun to use because it smells amazing. I kind of think the Flatter is more for like clothes that you just take out of the dryer and then press or something like that. That kind of starching. You paid about 40-ish for yours, for your mat? Yeah, that's probably about right. The bigger ones can be a little bit more. I have the smaller one just because it fits in my space really well here. All right, so I'm just cutting like a rough 1/4 inch around this, and then we'll glue. Maybe I'll do one, see how it goes, and then we'll do the other two. Test the method before doing it to all 3. So I'm going to glue it down. That's what we did last night. And then I'm going to add some starch to the seam allowance edge this time. That's what I didn't do last night. And I don't know. I'm not super happy with how last night's circle came out, just because it's just like the circle, the seam is just, it's getting unpressed really quickly, quicker than I thought. You know, I've even looked with these mats, you know, I've looked them up on the industrial side, because, you know, there's industries that use like this thick 100% wool cloth stuff. So it's about a 1/2 inch thick almost, or just shy of a 1/2 inch thick, 100% wool, these mats. And even in those other industries and stuff, they're still kind of pricey. So that's kind of a bummer, but I do really love it so far. I can just have it lay right on my table here, and I can move it around so easily. I don't have to fold it up or hide it anywhere. I like it. All right, so yeah, this is just to kind of temporarily hold everything here, this glue. We will pick it out. It's really worth it to you, Gretchen, the mat, like a good iron. Yeah, so far I'm in total agreement. You know, I always love with like quilting and crafting, for a lot of crafts and especially quilting, you really don't need much. I mean, for quilting, all you really technically need is a needle, some thread, some fabric, and a scissors. You don't need a machine, you don't need anything. But with each fancy gadget that I've added, it's just that much more easy. So I was kind of always kind of meh on all these fancy rulers and fancy gadgets and fancy everything, because like you don't need it, right? You don't need any of this stuff. And it's intimidating. It's intimidating to be like, oh my God, do I need that ruler, or do I need that template or whatever? But really, you don't need anything. But man, some of these little things make life just a hair easier. Like, you know, this little glue stick pen, you know, you can get right in there with this little bit. It's just some things, you don't need it, but it makes life a little easier. Okay, so now here is what I'm going to try. First, I'm going to just give it a little press. Just kind of start setting this. Here's where I'm going to do the starch. So I have my Best Press here. I haven't used it in a while, and sometimes this leaks a little, but I think we're looking okay. I'm scared to do it over the mat here. Actually, let's just shimmy that away. Okay, let's make sure this is stream. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I just have a little container here. I'm just gonna squirt some in there. There we go. So I have a little bit of starch in there. I'm gonna get my mat back here. Yep, dropping everything on the ground. All right, let's get, just like I said, the starch kind of can burn your surface sometimes over time. So let's just protect it a little bit here. And I'm gonna just take just a cotton swab here, load that up with the starch, and really I'm gonna just kind of go around the edge. Really, we're just worried about this right on the edge where the fold is. I don't need to like saturate this whole thing. I just need to make sure to get that edge. You can spray away, that's perfectly fine. The reason I'm not spraying is because sometimes I feel like with the freezer paper, if it gets wet, it can start to want to move around in a way. So that's why I'm just kind of dabbing it on here. Ooh, a starch pen. That's exciting. That would be handy with something like this. Did I go all the way around? I can't tell. I can't tell. Where did I start? All right, we'll assume that I've gone to about here. I think it's drying awfully quick, so I don't know where I started. Let's pretend right about there. All right, so I'm gonna just hit that again with some heat. Hopefully it sizzles. Not too much. That's okay. So this is just setting it a bit more. A bit more than me just pressing it, that starch. So now when I take this, oops, sorry, I hit you guys. Now when I take this paper out, the freezer paper, this should just stay a hair more because we've starched it. So I don't know, I think we'll let that be. I'm gonna do the other two just like this first, and then I think we'll take out the papers. And then I'm gonna try something. What I'm gonna do, well, first of all, I might go back and add some starch to this guy, but I might do a little stitch on these so that I'm matching up those two lines where they're supposed to match. I might put a little stitch through there, and then the same thing up here. I might put a little stitch between these two, so I have all four kind of hanging out together, but I know that those lines will match perfect. And then at that point, I think maybe I will take the papers out and try and attach it to my piece. Because attaching it one by one, I mean, like last night with this, it was just kind of, it's just going all over the place a little bit. And, you know, I had matched up these with my edges to begin with, and as I pinned, they just got just moved around, and I don't know, I'm not liking how this is going on. So we're gonna try a little different. I'm still doing the freezer paper method just because I'm determined to do that this time around. I think we'll just glue down here. But yeah, we'll see if that little starch works and kind of stitching them together a little bit. I'm a little tempted. Oh, this is not working as well. I'm gonna go over here where I have a hard surface. It doesn't want to, I can't feel that edge of the freezer paper very well on that soft surface of that towel and the wool mat. So this hard surface, I can really feel the edge of my my circle. So that's helping me fold over these edges little by little. The hardest part I'm seeing is where we have the seam, because it's awfully thick there. It's not wanting to stay as well. Oh, use a small paintbrush for your starch. That sounds like a good idea, Suzanne. I'm going to, oh, that's a good question, Joe. Whether I'm gonna hand applique or machine applique. I guess I was thinking I would hand applique it. So, yeah, I suppose I'll hand applique. just because that's what I was initially thinking. But you can totally machine applique it on, then it'd be done a whole lot faster, which is fun. Well, I have so much with my other blocks. I have so much handwork to do yet. So I don't know. We're gonna have to take a few days and just do some hand stitching to get further on these blocks. But that's kind of how it went the last time around. I had a whole pile of half done, English paper pieced blocks and embroider blocks, everything that required lots of stitching. Went back and watched the this sampler quilt vid from last night. Oh, good, Lisa. I'm glad it helped. Yeah, I think with the circles and just like these little movements, and we did double up that freezer paper, so it's extra thick, so I can really feel the edge, and it's not wanting to move, which is great because then I can get these nice folds. All right, we'll do the other one quick, and then we'll go around and starch the edges of these and then see what we got happening. You like the idea, the raw edge one? Yes! So yeah, we talked about that a little bit last night, Bonnie, that someone had done, probably out of frustration, not sure, but it looks like she just was like, maybe was having a trouble with the circles, so instead made all the edges just raw edges. So she just went like this. So instead of folding it over, she left it like this and then sewed down the circle and then just kind of trimmed up these edges so it was kind of this fluffy raw edge. It looked so freaking cute. And you would have never known that if you wouldn't have kept trying stuff, kept at it, And so maybe it wasn't working, but you came up with another neat idea, right? I just thought that was so clever, and it was just really pretty. Oh, showed my mom your videos. She gave me your sewing machine. Nice. Yes, Tammy, start stitching. You need to watch a good movie and sew. Yeah. Okay, you gotta throw on Anne with an E. I am very much enjoying Anne with an E so far on Netflix. I haven't watched a lot of movies lately. I've kind of in the series TV. It's one long movie that lasts forever and I don't have to pay attention very, very much. You could pull the freezer paper of one circle and flip it over so the wax paper is up. We did that once with, I was trying to figure out how to do that. So what, it flipped by so I can't see who said that anymore, but what that suggestion was to instead of gluing it down like this, I could have taken one of these other circles and kind of stuck it in here with the waxy side up, and then fold it over the edge, and then I could just use the iron to put it all down. And since there's a sticky side up, it would attach to the iron. So that would have been a really kind of nice way of doing it too. So all right, I'm gonna starch these little babies here now, and then we'll press them over here again. So let's get, gosh, I might need to put more starch in here. It just dries up. All right, this time I'm gonna start at the white and end at the white just so I know where I started and stopped. Maybe I should go faster, it probably shouldn't dry. I should probably get it before it dries, right? We'll just go real fast. I don't know all the scientific properties of starch, I suppose. Okay, we're all the way around. So let's throw it on there. Oh, I'm not getting my sizzle. I like the sizzle. Oh no, freezer paper on top, Suzanne. Freezer paper on top. So how would that help? Oh, you mean ooh, shoot. Look, let's work that fold a little bit more. There. Just let that sit on there. Oh, spray that puppy, you're killing me. You know, I would spray, I'm just totally, like, I'm seriously just getting antsy about my silly wool mat. I don't want to get the wool mat. Yeah, you know, I might actually even, ooh, gosh, that's hot. I might stitch these together, those little, the corners, or the points of the square, like how I want to. I might even do that with the paper still in. Suzanne, I'm gonna have to look that up, because I'm not sure I'm quite getting it. All right, so let's, I think I'll have enough starch here. Oh, I was gonna start on the white again, so I know where I started and ended. And I think I'm out of starch. Let's shoot some more in here. All right. But yeah, I've sprayed starch before, like Gretchen, how you're saying just spray it, but it's completely come off of the freezer paper just because it's, you know, paper that's getting wet. So that's why I'm not just full on spraying this. All right, let's press. Oh, there I heard a little sizzle. Starch is floor polish you use to mix it up in a spray bottle. Works great. Oh, interesting. Get some heat on there. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. There's so many different ways to do things, and that's kind of why I like working on these Splendid Sampler projects, because, you know, we have the opportunity, like we're doing circles with freezer paper this time. Last time we did it with the interfacing, the glue fusible, and, you know, there's just so many ways to do it. Oh, you've only been sewing 2 months and it's changed your life. Lisa, that is just the best thing ever. That is just so freaking cool. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't make stuff like this. It's the learning, it's the, you know, you gotta like flex your creativity a little bit, you know? Look, that square starting to happen. So I'm gonna redo this. I'm not happy with this, so I'm gonna just unpin these. Let's see, we'll just leave the pins over here. I'm gonna try and not ruin it. I'll press it quick, and then I'll give it a little starch on the edges. This one I might spray, although if I spray this, then the fold will go away. Oh, Lisa, that is so freaking amazing. That is just so cool. That is amazing. All right, I'm gonna give that a little press. Oh man, should I just go for it and spray this thing? Wow, this circle's getting wonkier and wonkier, so we're gonna have to, we'll kind of tweak a little as we sew. All right, I'm just spraying. I'm a little scared because, you know what, I'm gonna do it this way because I'm afraid my folds are gonna go away. Okay, sprayed. Oh, I wanted to hear the sizzle. Gotta get my iron hotter, I suppose. Oh gosh. Yeah, this one's pretty wonky. Look how crazy this one's looking already. So we're gonna have to, you know, I could actually just redo it right now, but I'm going to, like, I could stick, you can reuse these freezer paper, so I could stick one of these back in and adjust it, but I think I'm gonna just tweak as I stitch it on. Like I'll just tuck in these like points, these wacky points that are happening as I stitch, and as I, you know, you have to look up close to what you're doing, but you always have to look back and be like, okay, I'm approaching some wonky curve here, wonky point. So as I approach the points, I will try and tuck them under a little bit more. But yeah, you could totally take the paper and stick it back in and then kind of readjust, but I'm too lazy. So we're gonna do this. But wow, look at the difference. These still have the papers in though too. So I suppose now we can decide what order we want these in. We can actually, let's look at it with our guy. Oh, I'm gonna press this. Look at all those pinpoints in there from when we were trying to applicate that down. Ideally, I would like to glue these down, which at the beginning of the last Splendid Sampler, I never would have thought of using like glue in my quilts, but it is so handy to just tack it down. We did a test, like what was the best, what did I like best for attaching an applique piece to the background, and we tried the applique pins, we tried basting it with thread, where you just take a piece of thread and stitch it on just to hold it down, so just like some big stitches. And we tried the glue, just gluing it down, and the gluing it down just worked the best for sure. So I'm just gonna toss these on for now, and then we'll decide what order we want these in. But look, that square is starting to form. I just think that's so clever and neat. So freaking cute. You know, we could just do it like this. Should we just be done? Why not? Okay, let's do these. So, all right. So next up, I wanted to, like I said, I was having trouble just putting one down individually. So I'm going to put a tiny little tack, like just a tiny little stitch, like just wrap it around a few times, kind of like we're English paper piecing, just that little point. A little bit. I'm going to just go around there, and then I'm going to jump and go around there, jump, go around here, and jump and go around here. And just to line this all up. And then we'll have like, this will kind of be one piece at that point. And then we'll figure out how we're going to attach it and in theory take out the papers. So some people leave these papers in till the end. So they'll stitch with the paper in there, which actually might not be a bad idea, because then you'll keep this nice edge. And then they'll flip their whole thing around and cut out the back here and then pull out the paper. Or they'll wait till they get like just a little area left and then pull it out. That seems like maybe it'd be a little difficult. I'm hoping I can take all the papers out after I do these little stitches. So I don't know, we'll see. But all right, I need some thread. We're in hand stitching mode now, so I took the thread from my machine. And we gotta get Zeb out. Here's my little fish museum and circus feller. He has the needles. I'm going to use my crazy bent straw needle that I love. I think this is maybe a size 11 straw needle. I have a link to it of like a variety pack of straw needles, and I use the like second to skinniest one, and that's why it's bent. It's bent from me like using it for paper piecing and stuff. But what's nice is that it's super sharp and it is long. That's the benefit of it. It's a lot longer, so it works nicely for the paper piecing, and it's thin, or for this hand stitching, and it just has a little small eye to it as well. So a straw needle or a milliner's needle. You learned that a needle only lasts about 6 hours of sewing. Yes, so Tammy, that is something that is kind of new to me as well. So I would have the same needle on for like years, and then once I really got sewing, actually really online here, when I started doing these live sewing things, and we're having problems, people were like, oh, you probably just need to change your needle and stuff, and you know, researching more into it, just realizing that, yeah, you really do need to change that needle more often. I kind of do it after every kind of project, or sometimes things just start acting up a little bit. Like, you know, if your thread's being weird, or, you know, like the bobbin's being funny, like the thread's getting caught in weird places, or it's just sounding funny, or it's just like putting fuzz everywhere. It might just be that your needle needs to be switched. So when in doubt, first take the bobbin out and put it back in, and then second, you probably need a new needle. But yeah, that's a totally kind of new concept to me too. But it really does work. It's kind of a mystery. But it makes sense. I mean, they get, you know, they're being rubbed all over this fabric, so that's a lot of friction. Breaks down the needle a little bit. So this is kind of tough, actually, stitching through this with the papers in, but we're giving it a go. I'm just doing it kind of like how I'm English paper piecing. I'm just doing a couple little, wrapping it around a few times, and there we go. So now I got a little stitch. So now those two pieces will be perfectly in line, so we can form that square. Robin hand needles too. See, that's where I don't do that. I should switch out these needles more often. I actually really like this size needle. I'll have to figure out which size this is and just order a bunch of these, because you know it's totally folded or it's bent all funny too. So all right, let's do this next one. So I didn't get a new piece of thread or anything. I'm matching up that white seam, and I'm just going to jump from where the last one was to do this one. I'm doing the one that doesn't have paper in the last, just because I don't want to fumble that one up as much. These ones still have the paper in, so they're a little more protected. Oop. So again, I just jumped up to here. I can leave, this little thing can just stay. It's going to be tucked in. It's going to be in the background. It's not going to be in our way. And it's easier to just jump up to the next spot versus starting fresh. Ooh, yeah, this is tough though, going through these areas with the paper. You like the size 9 for hand quilting. It's a bit longer, but just feels better. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to try the different things just to see what works best for you, because everyone holds, their thread and their needle differently. Everyone, like for me, English paper piecing, this pinching motion kind of hurts my hand a lot. So, using a wonder clip works a little bit better for me. So it's just, you gotta see what works best. Ooh, this popped onto the front. I just want that to the back. All right, now I got enough thread here. I'm gonna jump up to this next one. So this one, I gotta keep making sure that, that I don't accidentally go like that I keep these lined up. This one is the one without paper, and it's also the super duper wonky one. Should be a little easier to thread through though. Man, I might need to get the thimble out. Yeah, the number of the needle is how thick the needle is, but sometimes the different numbers are just a little longer or shorter than each other too. But yeah, it refers to the thickness. Yes, tea with friends. That is what this is like. That's awesome. Uh-oh, there we go. Get that thread to the back again. All right, last up. I think this is a good idea, but it's just a hunch, putting these all together at first. So I don't know, we'll see if this actually pans out. It might have been easier to not have a bunch of circles flopping around everywhere, but I do think this is gonna get that square effect really well. So I don't know, we'll see. Getting those white seams there. Oh, you thought that I said that this was a size 10 needle? That could be. I don't quite remember. I got a variety pack. I can show you another one that was in here. Let's see. I have that in here. This one maybe? Yeah, so this was another one from the same variety pack that I got. So look at the difference. This one is a bit thicker. See, so it's a hair thicker. It's a little longer. So this is like the next size up, which I think means it has a smaller number. So this might be a 9 and this might be an 11. I think that might be the case. So I didn't like, this one is sturdier, so this one's less likely to bend, but it's fatter, so it's a little harder to go through these little, it's harder to go through the fabric because it's just a bit fatter, especially for these little itty bitty edges. So that's why I really like this, I think it's an 11. I think, Suzanne, I think this might be an 11. I'm gonna have to look all that up again. But yeah, I think as the needles get smaller, then the number goes up. And I think if I remember right, that fatter one was a 9 and this one was an 11. But there we go. So I think that was a good idea. We got all these guys together. So what I'd like to do now, maybe I should give this another press. Yeah, what I'd like to do in theory is take out these papers now, because I don't really want to stitch with the papers in. It's a little tough to stitch with the papers in, I think. I mean, it keeps that really nice edge, but next to that paper, you know, I can't just go through, you know, the needle, I just want to catch the edge. I don't want to go through the actual paper. That's going to be just rough on the hands and you know, I don't want to stitch through all that paper. But what I'm worried about is what happened to us here last night, that once I take the papers out, it's not going to want to keep its shape. Although we did starch these this time. So we're going to just go for it. And we're going to just go with this method, right? I mean, we're just going to live this freezer paper method, which again is maybe not my favorite method of applique, but we're giving it a go. We have tons of opportunities on this project to try different techniques. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, I think this is really gonna make that square shape just perfect. Because, you know, really, honestly, this block is all about this square, right? It's about these circles and this magic square that pops up. So getting that square to look like a square by having all these points match, I think is really, you know, one of the keys to this design. I forgot which one I was doing. I think this one. It's kind of fun with them all attached. So I didn't tie that at a knot. I just kind of left the thread a little bit there. No need to bother. We wrapped it around a few times. That should do the trick. So what I'm doing now is I'm just we glued this down, if you remember. I'm just kind of releasing that glue a little bit, so it'll be a little easier to pull this paper out. And it's just water soluble, simple glue. It shouldn't be a huge problem. Oh, cut a slit in the middle of the paper. Yeah, so that's what we were doing with our, what were we doing that with? With the English paper piecing, maybe? No. Oh, with our freezer, or not freezer, with our raw edge applique from a different block, that we just cut like an X in and could get the paper out really easily. I didn't do that for this just because it's the 2 pieces of freezer paper, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get all the way through. So I'm just kind of releasing that. And since I have the starch on, it should retain its shape pretty well. So I'm just pulling that freezer paper out, which shouldn't be too difficult. The freezer paper doesn't like hold too tightly. So okay, so this was with the starch. That seems like it's holding its place. Let's keep going. The problem was when I was trying to get it on like appliqued, like basted, temporarily kind of placed on the background here, is when it started to lose shape last night with our other piece. So let's see if we can mitigate that tonight. So I can be a little rough with this because we did starch it, so they should just bounce back. One more here. Look how cute they are, the insides. All right. I like how this is still just fabric. You know, it's got all this interesting structure. It's like some math problem here and geometry happening. But it's still just paper, or just on fabric, just circles. Okay, so technically you could reuse these again, but you know, they're a little worn around the edges and we don't need them anymore, so they're gonna be garbage. Okay, you know what? I think we'll give this a press. We'll just stick it down here again. Just for, why not? Get that little extra oomph to that. Man, I am gonna have to really work on those edges of that one that we did yesterday, though. Oh, I think we had this bright one in the upper left-hand corner. You can sling that thing all over and won't change shape. Love the starch. Yeah, I think I could probably put a little bit more on here. So, you know, this is the guide for our square, so technically I should be matching just right, but now since I've matched all these, I can't see the edge, so I gotta kind of like find it again. I'm tempted to, instead of gluing down the edge, I'm tempted to just, since we have our perfect square now, I'm tempted to just throw an applique pin in the center of this and be done with it. Because really, I think attaching all these really kind of did the trick a little bit. Like, I feel like no matter, even if we are off center a little bit like this, we could still trim our block. I mean, that's pretty off center, but even if we rotate a little, I could still, since we did the block a little bit bigger, I could still trim it so it looks square. So I think I'm going to, yeah, I think that'll be easy. So let's just hold it down. I think I got that pretty much matched up with the back. I think I might get the center here. I'm not going to go right in the center because that seems pretty hefty. Ugh, yeah, that seems a lot to go through. So we'll, come on, pin. Oh my gosh. Does not want to go through that seam at all. Let's go a little lower. This might just be a bad pin. All right, there we go. So that one, let's get the next little corner down here. I think that looks good. Grab another pin. I'm trying to go in the center, but not getting those seams. And I'm doing this flat, like I'm not lifting this up and moving it because I want these to stay in those spots. And then you know what? I think might somehow put, just because these look like they're curving in or out, I might just make sure that this feels straight and throw a pin like through both of these maybe to kind of hold that position too. There. All right. I think that's all we're gonna do. Run a pin through your hair and then stick it in the fabric? Is that a thing, Suzanne? I've never heard of that. What does that do? Like just make it oily so it goes in and out a little bit better? Let me know if that's your thinking. I've not heard that. That's kind of interesting. All right, so this one looks maybe a little bendy. I'm gonna just make sure it feels straight. Okay, there we go. And so yes, try it. Oh, that is what it's for. Oh, that's so interesting. All right, I'm just trying to line up that last, I'm just trying to line up that point with this point best I can. I think that probably looks okay. I don't want to stretch it or anything. Look at our little chicken. Excited. Works like a charm. Okay, I'm gonna do that. That just seems like, that's just so weird. But I like it. Okay, run it through my hair. I think what's going on is I'm doing it on this cutting board, and this is a self-healing cutting board. So as I stick it down, I'm kind of like stabbing this cutting board, which is meant to take little stabs like that. So I think that's really kind of what's happening here. All right, and then this one looks a little curvy yet, so I'm gonna just kind of push this in so it looks a little more square. This is the last pin. I had just enough pins out. Okay, so there we go. I can just store it like this, really, and we're good to go. So I want to start stitching it tonight yet, though. I think we have a few minutes left. This should hold its shape now, especially if I'm not gonna, throw it around everywhere. I'm just gonna keep it in my little binder. This guy is perfectly framed in here. Look at that funny little chicken. So that worked out just right. Yeah, I think we're just gonna start hand stitching. Let's see, what would be the best way of doing this? Maybe, ooh, you know what we could do? We could do, instead of thinking of these as circles, we could treat it as like this inside shape, which might be nice because then we can get this guy nice and flat. So I can just bump to all these and then they're all kind of attached a little bit. and then keep going around the circle. I think we're gonna do that. Knowing you're like you'd stab yourself in the head. That's kind of what I'm thinking, Jennifer, a little bit too. All right, let's get a little bit of this stitching done tonight. So grab that pin again. I think this is an 11. An 11 straw, or a needle, not pin. 11, a size 11 straw or Milner's needle. And they're just a little bit longer. Like here's a normal Sharps needle. That's probably comparable. So this is probably pretty close to a size 11 Sharps. Maybe a size 10, I don't know. But like, look at the difference in length. So Milner's needle or a straw needle is just longer. It's like a universal Sharps needle, just a little longer. Okay, I'm gonna thread. Man, I keep dropping it. Come back here, needle. All right, get a little bit. I don't need a ton, I don't think. And I think this time we'll put a little knot on the back or on the bottom of this. So I'm just gonna wrap the end around my needle a bunch of times. But don't you have to turn? Just tack that long one is great for turning. But you don't have to turn, just tack the long one. I don't think I'm getting what you're saying, Gretchen. Okay, so I'm gonna start. So this shouldn't really move because it's pinned down pretty well. So I'm just gonna start at this corner here. I'm gonna come up through the back and I'm gonna grab just a tiny little bit on the front. Oops, we're gonna get a little higher here so I don't hit you guys. Just a couple threads of the front of the applique piece. And now I'm gonna go right across and just in the back. And then go about a stitch length away, which is, you know, maybe like a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch. Come up through the back and the front again. Ugh, got a knot in here already. So I should show you guys this though. Whenever you guys get one of these loopy knots, these are pretty common. I think the easiest way to get them out is you put your needle right in the loop and then pull up on it. Like one side of it will make it tighter. Like if you pull one side, it'll make the knot tighter. And if you pull the other side, it should make the loop go right. Ugh, this might be a double knot. All right, this is a different one. But sometimes it'll make the knot go right up to the needle and then it'll make the knot go away. But this one is just not working, so we got just a lame knot here. Boo! I might have to start this over. This is just a little thread here. Let's see if I can pull it through. We're gonna just start fresh. Boo, I haven't had to do that in a while. Usually those just come out pretty easily. Must be getting to be that time of night, I suppose. And I haven't waxed this or anything either. If you have like a thread conditioner or a thread wax, that can help prevent knots like that a little bit more. But boo, usually I can get those out, like usually I'm like the master of getting those out right away, but not this time. All right, so from the back to the front. Okay, then coming back up, and I'm just literally just catching a couple stitches there. There we go. So it's going straight across where I was at to the back. So we're just going straight down, we're perpendicular. And then I'm coming up about a stitch length away again. So here I'm just going through the back, and then I'm also gonna go through the front piece as well. just grabbing this little edge of the stitches. Oh, dang, Bonnie. Chai spice mix. That sounds amazing. That'd be really good right now. All right, and then I'm just going to keep going around. If there's a little pointy bit, I can tuck that in. But all in all, I'm going to just keep going around this and stitch these guys down. And actually, I think we're going to stop right there for the night. I am going to go around this inner edge first. I should make a note for myself, actually, but maybe I'll just remember. I'll stick the needle. Oh, you know what? I might need this needle, so I'm going to take the needle off, and I'll leave this thread, and I'm just going to store it in my binder just like this. All I've seen that I've started it already. And we'll just continue on this again when we have the opportunity. It's all pinned down. I'm going to leave those pins. The starch shouldn't go away. The starch should still hold. I'm not worried about that unless this got wet for some reason, but I don't think it will. And then tomorrow, you guys, we get a new block. So I'm glad we got at least about as far on this block as we did on a bunch of the other ones. So I'm equally as behind on this block as I am with at least half of my other blocks, so if that's saying anything. But tomorrow is new block day, so we'll get a new one. I'm gonna flip you guys around and we'll call it an evening. All right, hello again. So yeah, so we will be, I'm wearing my blue blocking glasses again. My eyes were tired today, so got the glasses on. Here we go though. Oh, see, you can totally see that square. That's popping still, even though it's on that light, the white with that light background. I think that works still. And we have that one little pop of color that we did in this one. So yeah, so a new block tomorrow. So tomorrow morning you can go to thesplendidsampler.com and the new block will be released there. It's a mystery until tomorrow. So yay! I have no idea what it's gonna be. Maybe it'll be applique again. We've been doing a lot of applique, but maybe it'll just be pieced. Maybe there'll be some embroidery. I don't know, but I'm pretty excited. So that'll be tomorrow. New block Thursday. We'll do that Thursday and Friday, and then it'll be back to Monday. I think we'll spend a little bit of time here trying to get a little further on these blocks though. So that'll be the plan for this next week or so. And great guys, I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. I hope you like this Penguin and Fish Facebook page, and if you're on YouTube, click subscribe over there, and I will be back tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So have a great evening, and I'll see you then. Good night.